last episode of Stranger Things. I cannot believe the show is finally over. I had my concerns. There was moments where I was very worried, but they pulled it off. That finale scene in Mike's basement was the best, most heartfelt way they could have ended the show. It made me forget about all the other moments that were weird or stood out or weren't the best. That finale scene had the heart that the early seasons of Stranger Things had. It concluded the show perfectly. I'm so happy that they ended it like they did so we can keep enjoying the show and it wasn't tarnished by an abysmal finale. But don't get me wrong, it wasn't perfect. While I'm very happy with how many emotions this last episode made me feel, I still have many questions. I feel like there's so many things they teased that we never saw or things that just never got answered. I wish we knew what happened to Dr. K and the rest of the military after the Upside Down exploded. You're telling me she just watched Nancy and Hopper kill half of her soldiers and then because 11 and the Upside Down vanished, she just lets everyone go? I wish we had more closure on all those extra Mind Flare particles. They killed this physical entity that the Mind Flare was controlling just like they did with the meat puppet, but the Mind Flare is a cloud. It's these particles they showed us. And even after this new monster was defeated, the kids still burped out all these extra particles that go back into the air. It's still out there. I wish they explained the cave scene and the powers situation more about. They told us about the exotic material and the Mind Flare taking over Henry, everything. I can only imagine how confused everyone must be who didn't see the play. Anyone that doesn't know about it, which is by far the majority, must have been just so confused by all of this. No wonder the play wasn't on Netflix. It had almost nothing to do with season 5. If anything, it spoiled it. I'm just so surprised Patty Newby wasn't in season 5 at all. And side note, also, how was this the finale of Stranger Things, but there wasn't a single Demogorgon, Demobat, or Demodog in the entire episode? What the heck? The 2 death fake-out scenes were actually the scariest part of this episode. When Steve fell off the tower and when Hopper shot 11, that was insane. Vecna tricking Hopper into shooting 11 through the tank, I never even thought of that. It was such a crazy villain move that made for genuinely amazing TV. I didn't mind the fake out because it made me feel something. I knew it couldn't end like that they weren't going to actually kill 11 so early into the episode before they defeated the Mind Flare, but I was still scared. That was terrifying. That scene was actual nightmare fuel. And the Steve fake out was crazy. Again, I know there's no way he could die like that, basically an accident before he ever gets to do anything or contribute in the finale, but it still scared me. It felt like the Duffers were playing with us, like, oh, we're gonna kill Steve off finally, but obviously they weren't gonna do it like that. He literally lets go of the tower completely at one point. I kind of thought that Dustin was gonna save him, but I liked that Jonathan ended up catching him. They had a really nice heart-to-heart afterwards and trauma bonded, which was kind of cute. Now, one of my favorite parts of the episode was when Henry finally goes into that dang cave. Seeing him mirror his younger self through the memory at the same time was so cool. Seeing him look disheveled with the messy hair was so awesome, and getting to see Will come back and go through the motions with him was crazy. And then he started talking to him, trying to speak to the humanity left inside of Henry. This scene was just 10 out of 10 for me. I love that Will flat out just tells Henry the Mind Flare is using him and tries to recruit him to help them fight it. Patty does the same exact thing to Henry in the first Shadow. She tells him that it's just using him as a vessel. And it's so crazy that Henry claimed the Mind Flare was never in control. We literally just saw it take control of him and kill the Russian scientist. That was the Mind Flare that popped his eyes. It feels like they just needed to have Henry double down on being a bad guy just so they had the green light and didn't kill him if it was possible to redeem him. It's also wild that they kept trying to say Henry and Will are the same for so long now. They were both sensitive and different. They share the same birthday now and have a connection that lets them use shared powers, and all of that was just so Will could relate to Henry more when he was trying to turn him back to the light, and it didn't even work. I was blown away that Henry doubled down on being bad, because the first Shadow very heavily leans into the narrative that Henry was manipulated and taken control of as a child, and that they might be able to save him in season 5. I feel like that almost would have been better, the classic villain redemption arc right before they die. What if instead they learned that Henry was taken over by the Mind Flare, and all of this time, it wasn't Henry, it was the Mind Flare controlling him? Like, as Henry becomes less human and more Vecna, it showed how much control the Mind Flare has over him. What if they went searching for the young boy Henry Creel in Vecna's mind and find him in some repressed memory and save him and help him fight off the Mind Flare to take back control of Vecna just in time time for him to sacrifice himself to help destroy the Mind Flayer. That's literally what they did with Billy in Season 3. He was an incredible villain for so long, and he had a change of heart at the last second and literally saved everyone. He died a hero, and I'm glad that he did die in the end, which I would have wanted them to still kill off Henry/Vecna, but it would just seem like there's more cohesion between the first Shadow and the show, because with this ending, they almost contradict each other now. I feel like the biggest reason that this episode ended, the show ended with so many questions and things left unaddressed, like what happened to Vicky? Did the military take her away and then leave everyone else alone? What happened to the Turnbow family after they drugged and kidnapped them? Are they still tied up in the McCorkle's barn? What about their house? It got completely destroyed. Just no follow-up? Even giving things like Mike and Will more closure, or addressing what happened to Dustin's girlfriend in Utah, Susie, or even what happened to Dr. Owens from Season 4, or honestly, even giving more closure to the Mind Flayer actually being dead. Those extra Mind Flayer particles just went back into the clouds where they've always been. It's still alive. And you know what? Will said that even after they exorcised them out of him, they never truly left. Even though they were gone, he was still always connected. And now, you don't need to have the Upside Down in the wormhole connected to Hawkins for it to contact you. You don't even need to have a gate open like we originally thought. When the Mind Flayer particles in the rock went inside young Henry, there was no portal opened, and Eleven didn't create the Upside Down yet. It was able to still communicate with him. Technically, the Mind Flayer could still contact Will and any of the 12 children Henry took. All of these things that felt like they needed to be addressed, they simply didn't have time to in the 2 hours they had for this episode. It just wasn't enough time. The finale battle was over so quickly. It was crazy. They cut off Vecna's head an hour and 10 minutes into the episode. They spend 10 minutes with Eleven staying in the Upside Down scene, and then the epilogue was 25 minutes long. That left no time for any swinging back to past topics. They had no time to revisit anything because they had to move through everything else so quickly. And it's not like they could split this season up into 2 seasons, part 1 and part 2, with 16 hour-and-a-half episodes. That would be too much. Casual viewers would not watch all of that, especially when you start introducing so many big new concepts to the show like wormholes and exotic matter and all of young Henry's past Mind Flayer trauma, and you split up the material into a play that you can only see in person. It's just too much. I think they just had to focus on covering the bare minimum, the most important parts, as best they could. I really love seeing Steve coach the Little League's baseball team. That was such a cute ending and so on par for his character. I love that he adopted Derek now and is looking after him. I love that they let Dustin do Eddie's plan for graduation. He originally told him he was going to go up on stage, snatch his diploma, and then give Principal Higgins the bird. And Dustin also yelled out that this is their year, just like Eddie. And the coolest behind the scenes detail is in this shot you can actually see Dustin got the bat tattoo that Eddie had in Season 4. It kinda sucks that this is the only shot that this exists in, like he got it at college, and you just can't ever see it here. But just know that it's in this scene. Also, the moment with Dustin and his mom was adorable. So heartwarming to end on that scene of them together. And then Hopper and Joyce's date at Enzo's. Oh my gosh, that was so beautiful. I loved it so much. I wasn't really a fan of the long 5-minute scene with Steve, Jonathan, Nancy, and Robin on the roof before this. It made me feel sad for the characters. Sad that they're reminiscing on the old days that will never be. It feels like when you get sad about your high school days, before you had a job and had to pay rent and taxes, and all you had to do was hang out with your friends at school each day. But that's sad. Those times will never come back. Plus, a lot of people died in those times. It felt like even the way that they ended it was one of those things you say as an adult where you all promise to hang out and then life gets in the way, everyone's busy, and it just never works out. I did love what they did with Steve now that he's pursuing his dream working towards getting a house, and until he gets that, he's been going on RV trips with Dustin like he eventually wants to do with his family. I love that Jonathan is going to NYU like he's always wanted to. That's so perfect for him. But Nancy and Robin kind of fell flat. I can't believe that Nancy dropped out of college to go intern at another paper just like she did in Season 3. Her pressuring Jonathan into going to the same college as her was a huge conflict during Season 4. It was the reason they stopped talking so much and didn't go to see each other over spring break. It was so important last season, and now she just drops out? I would have been so mad if Jonathan sacrificed his dream of going to NYU to go to college with Nancy and probably have to work a lot harder than she might have to get accepted even, only for her to drop out in a year. That would be crazy. And it's wild that Robin basically got no epilogue. We hear that she has new friends, but that's it. She doesn't get any closure with Vicky or their date at Enzo's, and we have no idea what she's doing. This scene just felt a bit underwhelming, so when it cut to Hopper and Joyce finally having their moment, their date at Enzo's, and then Hopper proposes, oh my gosh, I was like, just end it here. This is perfect. It's beautiful. I also can't help but wonder what happened to the rest of the town. Did they tell even Karen about the Upside Down and interdimensional wormholes in Vecna? Did they tell Ted? He saw the Demogorgon too. Usually they do a monologue showing news on TV covering it in newspapers just to show how the town and the public is processing everything with the giant cracks in the ground, the military quarantine, the explosions and fireballs, the random maulings. I need something. What about Mike and Hopper? Did Mike ever tell Hopper his theory about 11 surviving like he told the others? Do they tell Joyce ever? I wish the Duffers would just do a long Q&A and answer all of these questions, or write a longer epilogue as a novel or short script and release it. There's so many questions everyone has. I still have a bunch of things from season 4 that they abandoned I wish they addressed. Like Will's painting to Mike and the monster they teased in it, or all the letters that Max wrote to everyone in case she died. They honestly could have read those at the end of season 4 and it would have been so emotional. We'll just never know what they said. I also wasn't a big fan of how stoic 11 was trying to be in this season. In the finale episode, I couldn't help but feel like she was so brutally quiet, like she barely said anything. Mike is telling her goodbye in the truck and tells her that he believes in her, that she can end this nightmare and defeat Vecna and the Mind Flare, trying to be there for her and show his support. And she says nothing the whole interaction. It's completely one-sided. She doesn't respond at all. She just leaves him, turns and walks away. Like what? Give us something, please. It felt like she was trying to look more heroic in all of these shots, just T-posing as epic as she possibly could, and she felt a little disconnected because of it. But also, this blew my mind. In all of the shots of the finale, Mike never tells 11 that he loves her. Remember in season 4, this was important and they were fighting because it meant a lot to 11 that Mike wasn't telling her that he loved her. In the end, he eventually gets over it and he tells her he loves her multiple times in front of everyone. And it's just what 11 needed to hear to muster the strength to defeat Vecna and save Max. So we think he's over it and they're going to go back to season finale. In the beginning, when Mike is telling her goodbye before the final battle, knowing that something might happen and there's a possibility either of them don't make it out, he never tells her he loves her. And even worse, when 11 is about to self-sacrifice and stay in the Upside Down, she brings him into the Void and she tells him that he has to tell the others why she's doing this and thank them for being so kind to her. She tells Mike goodbye and she says, "I love you, Mike." And he doesn't say, "I love you" back? What? Are you kidding me? This is criminal. Lock Mike up right away. Send him straight to jail because what the heck? They kiss instead, but for how important he knows it is for her to hear that he loves her, he should have 100% said it back to her. And they were in the Void too. No one was around for him to be embarrassed to say it in front of them. It was just the two of them. I cannot believe they didn't have him simply say "I love you" back, especially after 11 says it to him right before she's about to die. That was wild. I have so many other thoughts and things I want to talk about with you on the finale and the entire show now, but I just really wanted to do a quick initial thoughts video on the finale. I'm actually right now about to leave as this video is going live to go watch the finale in theaters, and I'm really excited for the rewatch. I'm curious if it will change my perception on a couple of things or make a couple scenes more likable. I remember not liking the initial Kali death scene just because they didn't earn an emotional death for her. She came back out of nowhere and didn't do anything likable for us to be sad over losing her. And 11 T-posing in the portal, I just didn't like how they were doing that either, but now knowing the Mike theory on the true ending, I want to rewatch and see if it changes it. So stay tuned for another video coming soon. If you have questions and things you don't understand about the finale or the rest of the show now, put them in the comments and send this video to all